We came to this place, but we did not do so as a free choice. We were driven away from our homes. The tales are varied and confusing and often contradict each other, but the most common reasons given us by our elders, who heard them from their elders, are as follows. Many believe a great illness swept the lands we came from, driving out those who would move to survive. Others claim we were invaded by the Skuld and they drove us from our homes and lands. The oldest and most knowledgeable of our people still sometimes refer to the time of the Great Dying, when the earth would no longer produce useful amounts of edible food. They say the soil itself blew away in great dust storms. Nothing would grow, and all who stayed behind perished. Whatever it was, it must have been awful. Why else would we have moved to this place? It's so cold and windy and miserable that only those with wills and bodies made of iron could possibly survive here. That is, after all, why we call it the Ironlands. Our forebears tell us that when we first arrived in this place, no one lived here. But they had. Remnants, some recognizable as works of people not unlike ourselves, and others like nothing any of us had ever seen or imagined before, dot the landscape. Whether familiar or strange, these runes are ancient and worn by centuries of past time. While there are still many who live in roving bands or small temporary structures that move along with the animals they feed on, most of us have now settled into circles. A few families, or even a few dozens of families, gathered together behind ditches, ramparts, palisades, huddled together for warmth and protection from those creatures or persons who wish them harm. Each of these circles is governed as those within it, or those who control those within it, wish, and as such they vary. Some are run by councils, some by individual strongmen, and some are run by warlords who control a handful of these circles and fight with each other over the rest. Because of this, there is no overarching army or police force in place. Each circle provides its own security as needed. Mysticism and religion vary widely in the Ironlands. There are those who still follow the old ways in believing in auguries, omens, and portents. Others think magic is rare, and yet others feel that every stone, every tree, and every part of the natural world holds within it the nearly infinite power of the unknown. Likewise, religions vary widely. Agnostics live side by side with those who go through the motions, and there are even some true believers who await the imminent return or arrival of their gods. Rumors seem to be a part of the Ironlands. Ever since our forebears arrived, there have been hints, stories, and tales about the inhabitants of this land. Runes tell us tales of a people so unlike us that they cannot possibly have been human, and they are of such an age that they seem to grow from the bones of the land itself. Beasts of many forms wander these lands. As we develop, these creatures are being forced back into the wilderness. Reports from the hinterlands speak of wolves as large as bears, and bears as large as houses. But even these beasts fear the horrors that haunt the darkest and most unknown corners of this place. It is said that in the most corrupt areas, even the dead do not stay that way, and that if disturbed, they swarm and feed on the living. Our tale begins in the Tempest Hills, a land of stunted trees, constant cold winds, mist-shrouded waterfalls. Miners, nomads, and caravans make up most of the population here. Mammoths wander the valley floors, and rumors of giants haunting the mountain peaks can be heard in the conversations of any circle. We find ourselves in the circle of Kinheim.